it's Wendy from Wendy Patterson Art. Today I'm going to be bringing you just a little bit more of a breakdown of what's in the July art sampler box. So in this month's box, Tanya has given us a range of different watercolour products. So there was a Brusho in it, the Shimmer Dust from Colour Blast, and also from Jacquard we've got the Pearl X. Now these can be used in a variety of different ways, so I'm going to break this down into these three little products and look at how they work with just being activated with water and then also other mediums, so you can actually use it in your mixed media projects. So we'll start with the Brusho first. Okay. Now, the watercolour paper that I'm using for today's demonstration is the Paper House Winslow watercolour paper that Tanya sent out. I've just taken an A5 and I've cut it down, an A4 and cutting it down to the A5 size. Just want to show you, I've set up, because of all the products I have, working out how they actually work and interact with different mediums, I'm setting up like a little samples book. So these are my Winsor & Newton colours. I've got to put a label on there, but I've just indicated what colours they are, and I've done it for all the different little watercolours there so far that I've done. So today I thought, while I'm actually doing this for you, I'm actually going to set up a new little page and just put it down into a section so I can then refer back to it and go, yep, I know how that one works and with what medium. Okay everyone, now I've got myself set up. With the Brushos, I haven't tried some of the other mediums with it, so it's going to be interesting to turn out. Initially I was just going to use the wet on dry, wet on wet, just to show you how it interacts. But I thought, previously I have done a little bit of clip on the Pearl X on how to use it, and there's actually a mixing medium that you can actually use with that from Jacquard, but I haven't got that, so I actually tried it with a range of different things, especially the golden range of products in their gels, and it worked really well with that. So because of that, I thought today similar sort of product, and I'll see how it actually goes with the Brusho and actually using a few things. So I'll be using some different gessos, a white and a clear, some matte mediums, and some other gels from Golden and also Atelier. So I've set up a little chart just to see how they interact. So I've got an older plate, just a white one, so you can actually see how they're actually mixing, just a little bit clearer. Very sorry, the birds are out today and you can hear them in the background. They've only started to have a real good chat because I'm having a talk now. So I'll start mixing these up, and first of all we're going to do a wet on dry. Now in this month's pack I did get the grey Brusho, but because I'm using it on this and doing a demonstration, I thought I'd get one of my others, so it's actually a lot brighter so you can actually see. I like the Brushos, so I've got a few different colours now. What I'm going to use is a leaf green. In the unboxing I actually mentioned that sometimes you'll actually get a colour in these ink powders that, while they look one colour when you put them out, as soon as you actually activate it with a medium or some water, it actually changes colour. And this leaf green is a classic one for that. So I'm just going to put this out on the plate so we can get a mix. As you can see, I haven't opened up my containers. What I do, because I use this very sparingly and you don't want huge amounts, so I've just opened up a tiny little hole and I've just put a little bit of that powder out. So it's not very much there, but I'm just going to grab a spray bottle and I'm just going to add that now, just a squirt of water, and you can see there that that orangey yellow colour has now turned into that green. So realistically, if you see there's little specks, there's specks of yellow and there's specks of blue. So once that's actually activated with the water, it turns that green. Green, blue and yellow and make green. So it's a very pretty colour. So sometimes if you're just looking at the powder itself rather than what's on the bottle, it can be quite deceitful. So that's why I do like doing some of these charts, just to give you an idea of what the colours are. So first of all, wet, which is, this is the wet part. I'm going to try it on just the straight dry paper. So you can see there, it actually gives a really nice flow. The pigment is nice and bright. The gesso, the Brusho colours actually hold really well. So as I said earlier, in the unboxing, I'm going to be using these in my 100-day challenge. So just learning how these interact with each other will actually give me a good idea on how I can actually use them in my daily challenges. So the next part, I'll get another brush. So I do have a multiple range of brushes. I actually have brushes that I keep for watercolours, and I also have brushes that I keep for acrylics, and they don't cross over. Once you actually use a brush for acrylics, don't use it on watercolour. Again, it does affect the quality of the bristles. So all I've done there is painted down just some water. You just see just a bit of a shimmer there. So that makes it our wet. So now we're just going to pick up the wet ink and just see how that moves over wet paper. I like watching to see how it just bleeds through, dropping in darker bits of pigment here and there. So you can build up different layers of colours. Okay. So next is a dry on dry. So what I'm going to be doing with dry on dry is just, dry on wet, is that I'm just going to paint down some water, which gives me my wet surface, and then this is sometimes a really great effect on your mixed media projects or just watercolour in general. So my little dry bottle, and I'm just going to splatter just that paint onto that surface. You can see there, it's just bleeding into that wet. I'm not going to mix it up because I actually like how the yellow, the blue are coming together to form that green. Very nice. So with the spray water, I'm just going to start with just a little bit of wet, not a lot of wet. I haven't added any more wet to that brush, so it's just still very damp from the previous one. I'm going to drop a little bit more powder on top, so you can see it's not activating straight away as much as the previous one. So the next thing I'm going to do is just get my spray bottle and just spray that. See how that comes out? I really love the effect that this has on especially larger pictures. Doing abstract paintings, this gives a really lovely effect, especially when you're using a couple of different colours. They blend so well together. So I'm liking that a lot. Okay, I'm just going to pause for a moment. I'll allow this bit to dry so this can be nice and dry when we add to the next step. So instead of wasting my little bit of green here, I'm just putting it down on another little bit of watercolour. I'll just keep adding to this as I go, just to make another little card piece for later. As you can see from that tiny little drop that I've actually put on the page, I was able to do nice 2 big blocks and cover that quite well, and it was only the smallest I envisage that these little bottles will keep going and going and going for years, because it's only just the tiniest amount to give you that burst of colour. So I'll just put that one aside to dry. So everyone is keeping well at the present stage. Going to all of my beautiful friends at Kingaroy, where Two Sisters is set up. Miss you all very much. Looking forward to seeing you later this month at the Cocktails on Canvas. Will be my next visit over there. So the next one we wanted to do is a clear medium. So I've got the Diana Way clear medium here. So I'm only going to use a small amount. So it looks white there, yes, but this dries nice and clear. I started using probably the cleared gesso instead of using Mod Podge. I had run out of Mod Podge, couldn't find Mod Podge, however they had the clear gesso, and I found that the Diana Wakley gesso actually allowed me to put down the surface and actually put something straight away over the top once it had dried, and didn't move and get as activated again as the Mod Podge. I do love Mod Podge as well, and I think both of them just have their perfect places for each other. So I'm just going to put a bit more of that powder just in there. I do like the way that that's mixing up. Let's continue to keep its nice bright colour there. Lovely. Now, because these are watercolour brushes and this is a mixed medium product, I'll keep that brush for our water, but I am going to use an acrylics brush to then put this down. So you can see that it is very streaky. I think I would like this, you could use this as like a wash over some mixed medium products. It's nice, it's got the nice green. A little bit streakier than using it by itself, but as I said, you could, it's quite versatile. It'll be interesting to see what that's like when that dries. Okay, and the next one that I'd like to try, I'll just leave that on the page there for the time being. Is the Liquitex, the white gesso. I do have lots of mixed medium products. Maybe like me, my family just looks at me and goes, "Why have you got all of that, Mum?" You never know what you might need. So I think I've put a bit too much gesso down there. Add a bit more of the colour. So with the white gesso, you can see that the more white you have, paler and more pastel-y, the Brusho will be. So with the clear gesso, it really doesn't change the integrity of the colour, whereas that white gesso, it will. Mind you, I do like that. And so just with that white gesso, so it's a nice pastel colour there now. I think my little friends are coming back to visit me. And I'm just going to put that out. I do like how even in the clear gesso the same is that every now and then, if I'm not mixing it up totally, I will get little streaks of the colour just in the gel mediums. Just a heads up, I might get a little visitor. He's sitting on my shoulder at the moment. If he jumps down on the paper, I think this is Border. No, he's flying away again. So the next one I'm going to be using is the matte medium, and this is once again is from Liquitex. Just a little bit out. And a little bit more of the pigment. It's a beautiful dark green. The matte medium hasn't changed the integrity of the colour. So I can grab that and put that straight in. So once again, it's a lot streakier than the wet on wet and the actual water with the Brusho, but that's quite nice. I'm finding that that's not as streaky to move around as what the gesso was, and this gives a very light covering. So that, once again, using it maybe as a gloss finish, a bit of a wash over the top of something else, that would work out quite nicely. We're going to move on to the goldens. I'm just going to use this up so I've got a clear spot for those other ones. Now I went to mix up some and I actually pulled out the scarlet. So the scarlet with that gel comes out quite nicely. I'll probably go with that, but I still want to do that comparison with the green just so we can see the different effects. But the scarlet, I'm quite impressed. So I'm going to start with the golden regular gel. Now this is a semi-gloss. I do like the fact that these ones come in the tubs, is that you can actually control then how much comes out at a time. The full bottles are great, especially when you're working on big projects, but sometimes it's hard when you just want a little bit. So I've got my green leaf there again. I'm tapping this in. And just mixing. So this is a lot thicker than the gel medium that we were just using by Liquitex. Once again, by adding it to this medium, it does not really change the colour too much. It's still a nice vibrant colour there. I've left a couple of those streaky bits there. maybe this, the golden actually doesn't seem to come through as transparent as the other gels that I've used, so that's quite nice. I haven't varied the amount of colour in that much, so I think that's working quite well. It's a little bit, because it's thicker, it was a little bit dry to actually then put down on the page. My brush was slightly damp for all of those, but that's come up quite well. Okay. The next one I'm going to use is the Clear Tar Gel. Now this one is a lot thicker. Nice and goopy. I'm not quite sure if that's a technical art term, goopy. As you can see, it's very tarry. Very tacky. So the gels can be used for a variety of different mixed media, not just for, say, decoupage where you're gluing things down. I find using it in a variety of different ways will give you a little bit more texture, a little bit more dimension to your painting. Once again, just a small amount, but slightly. I thought they were a little bit more different in colour, but when they're together at the same consistency, that seems to be similar. The brush was a bit wet at that time. That's clear. Let's take a bit more off there. That is, that was a semi-gloss. This, I put down a matte, but it's not really a matte. That is a lot glossier than the one above. Not as opaque as the one above either. Sorry, my little friends are quite talkative this morning. I hope that's not disturbing you too much. Hopefully when I do the editing it's not too loud. So this is the soft gel and this is a gloss. It's a bit pastel-y there. It is a clear gel, so it should dry similar colour to the others. So yeah, it's darkening up there just a little bit. So that's probably a little bit more transparent. Nice. It is, and we'll see when these actually dry just how glossy they are. You can see by that done awakely, that clear gesso, it's a nice matte finish. That the Liquitex matte medium, it's got a little bit more of a shimmer, and that white gesso, it's turned out nice and flat. I actually like the way that actually works with that white gesso. Okay, And just one more of the golden range that I'm going to use for this demonstration, and that is this one would be the extra heavy gel. It's a matte finish. Yeah. I do like that using the gels at time in even things such as acrylics, maybe to give it a bit more body. I will be using another product that's from Atelier, and they have been specifically designed to go along with the Atelier acrylic range, just to help with giving a little bit more body, slowing the drying process. So you can see that it's nice and thick. What I might do with this one is actually just apply it with my knife. So it's a lot firmer. And that's just going to give us a nice texture there. See, that is just nice and thick. I might take a bit of this and just place it to the bottom of that too, just to see how well that dries. And I think that one, this one's dried just about already. It's drying very fast. The next little products I'm going to be using are the Atelier mediums. So this is a thick paint medium. So this basically has been designed to maintain the consistency of the paint and increasing the wet working time. So just a bit of powder again. Worked out nicely. Now I've got a holding medium. This is for using the free flow acrylics, and it's also even suitable for Jo Sonja products as well. So this gives a little bit of body to very fluid sort of paints. They're working out very nicely. Sometimes it's good, especially if you've never used a product before, just to see how it works and how it interacts. Oh, sorry, I've got the gummiest little hands around. Rheumatoid arthritis sometimes makes it a little bit hard to open things up. So as I said, when you get a new product and you're unfamiliar to how to actually use a particular product, so just about out of this one. It's always good. I jumped online to learn how to use the pearl eggs, and didn't have any of the mixing products, and that's why I started using maybe different gels just to see how they react. So previously I've only ever used the Brusho just with water, so I thought today was a great opportunity just to see how it works with all the different mediums. So this is the heavy gel from Atelier. So once again, similar to that heavy gel, the extra heavy with golden, that is nice and dark. Now it has got a tint in it there, so it looks a little bit different on that mix to what we had before, but still maintain that nice green leafy colour. So once again, it's nice and thick. I think that could be quite useful in some of my projects, just to give a bit of dimension. So I'm going to allow those to dry, and I'll come back and show you how they all turned out. Okay, I like the way some of those have turned out. As I said previously, I've only ever used the Brushos using these techniques before, just with water, based on it being an aqua sort of product. But working it with the other mediums has been very interesting. As I said before, I like the gesso. I think I'll use that a bit more with the gesso. And even with the different mediums, just how effective they've turned out. That actually looks still wet, but it's very dry, so I actually like it with the gloss. It's quite vibrant, and even with just putting it on back with the palette knife, just the different effects that you can actually get. So I'm very pleased with the way that they have actually turned out. So I'm going to do the same process with the other two and seeing how they actually unfold. But for them, I'm just going to speed up the process instead of me talking over this time. I'm just going to go through and do the same thing and demonstrate how they work. If I find that I have any issues, I might pause and stop and just talk you through that. But we'll just speed up the next two testing pages. Okay, the next one's going to be working on Pearl X. Every time I go to record, I get little visitors. I've got two little birds, little girls' birds. One's Richard, one's Oliver. And Richard is very naughty. Richard does like to bomb dive everyone. Our little Jack Russell's out of the house today, so the birds have got freedom to fly around. And they're making the most of it. Basically their cage is their bedroom, bedroom, and the rest of the house is their playpen. So the next thing I'm going to use is the Pearl X. I didn't mention before, but I'm using my Micron pen to actually put down. The reason why I'm using these are that they're archival ink, and they're waterproof once they're actually down, so you won't have any bleeding. You can use any other pens, but if you're going to be putting water or other mixed medias over the top of it, make sure that it actually is waterproof. Once you actually put it down, you don't want it to actually blend and interfere with what you're doing, unless that's what you want within the project itself. So the Pearl X come in a different range. At the moment I've only got 5 different colours. Once again, of course, I've got plenty of different golds. Now you may notice that if you do get a few little brands or different colours, that there may be, when you open it up, one's fuller than the other. These will go on a weight component rather than how much is in a vial too. So it just depends, I guess, at times on the density of each one of these little pots. So I am going to play with the Magenta. So this is the one I got from the Two Sisters art sampler this month. So I'm going to start again with the wet on wet, the wet on dry and the dry on wet, just to see how this works. So this is where, it'll be handy, the little spoon that Tanya has given us in this month's pack is just taking a little bit of that powder out. So taking a little bit and just putting a bit back in. And once again, I'm going to be using a watercolour brush for this first part and just mixing that up. So it is recommended that this goes with a mixing medium, but I also wanted to see it with the water. This is where the Brusho worked well with the water, and it was interesting to see the different reactions with the other mediums. This pigment, while it's mixing up there okay, I think will be more suitable to actually use with the other mediums. So it's mixing up there, it's got a lovely shimmer to it. So this is our wet on dry. See there, it's giving us still a nice coverage. There's a nice little shimmer to that paint. Just using a bit of wet water just down on that paper. And we're just going to drop this back in. I'm going to speed up this next part and just go through and create each little piece. The next one I'm going to test is actually Colour Blast, the Colour Shimmer Dust. So I've used these before, as you can see, I've just got a couple. So gorgeous bright colours. Today I am going to use the colour that I got in my box, which is that Peacock. Since we've used those, I've got two other colours that we've just finished off there now. I'll do the same process with this one. If I need, I'll actually stop and just let you know what I'm doing. As you can see, similar to the Brushos, don't go by what that colour is. It can be very deceitful and be totally different in colours. As you can see, this looks like a gorgeous yellow colour, but it's actually more of this greenish colour. Navy. Duke's a bit deceptive, it looks very silvery, but it comes up as a nice bright blue. Same with the Lush. That's pretty much the right colour. Velvet. But we'll go through and we will try the same process with these little ones. So similar to the Brusho, the Colour Blast have been designed that they work well with just adding water. So I envisage that I shall have the same sort of response with this product as I did with the Brusho. So I've completed the swatches using the products in this month's art sampler box from Two Sisters Art, and it was a really good experiment to the way they actually work. Now the first one, which was the Brusho, and also the Shimmer Dust by Colour Blast, now they have primarily been made to actually work with water, so they're an aqua based product. The colours that actually come are beautiful, they sit on the page really well. However, the Pearl X, if you can see from here, I've actually just brushed those slightly, and when these are actually dry, the pigment will lift off a little bit. With a bit more of the water, they're okay, they sit, but they're still very smudgy. On these ones where I've just sprayed them, the pigment basically is just brushing off. So they work, I think, the best with the golden that I had. I didn't mind them with the Atelier, but I think for projects in the future, for me, the Pearl X I'll actually be using with the golden. I didn't mind the Pearl X in with the gesso, the white gesso that is. So from these at least I can tell how I'm going to use these products. So the colours, especially with the gloss, they've got a beautiful shimmer there, and the Pearl X does have a natural shimmer anyway, but it's really highlighted in those glossy components. Now with Colour Blast, I was really happy with the way that they actually turned out in the paper. They worked reasonably well with the golden. However, I was pretty surprised with the Atelier. Now the Atelier products are usually primarily made up to work in with acrylics, whether it be the Atelier range or even the Jo Sonja. But they've worked out really well, and they've kept the shimmer. Sadly, I can't quite see it here, but they've got a beautiful shimmer about them as well. So I was really happy with the way they worked there. And once again, I liked the way that it turned out with the white gesso. In the Brusho, I wasn't quite sure whether I liked the clear gesso with the Brusho, but with the clear gesso with the Colour Blast it worked well, and it was the reverse in those two as well. So actually probably it's just a good idea to do these sort of things to actually see what your products work well with. So really happy with the way that they turned out. I hope you enjoy that. Now it's working out a few little activities and the way that we can use things. For example, with the Colour Blast, with those golden gels, when I was doing it, I thought that would be a really great way of, if you had some chipboard, some die cuts that you actually wanted to emphasize, you could actually mix those products, and all of them really, into the different mediums to give you that color, and then actually build up some highlights on your projects. So looking forward to seeing what you can do with your